Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, lax rats alike, welcome back to another episode of the Crease Dive. Today is Tuesday, May 28th, and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish are your back-to-back national champions of the goddamn world. The Irish, they do it again after a 15-5 shit pumping over Maryland on Memorial Day after a quick 2-hour weather delay. Notre Dame comes out and beats the brakes off the Terps. I'm Jordy from Barstool. With me, as always, we've got Dukes and we've got Nestler on the mics. Boys, what a weekend for lacrosse. What a weekend for ass kickings. How we feeling after Memorial Day weekend is wrapped up, Dukes? I know it was a chaotic weekend for yourself.
It was good. Memorial Day weekend is one of the best times of year, in my opinion. I don't know how you lined up Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day. I've always been a Memorial Day weekend guy. Kickoff to the summer, championship weekend. Love was in the air this weekend for people on my side of the family. Irish was in the air for the Notre Dame guys. But overall, a successful weekend for the Dugmeister. Nest, how was yours, buddy? How was the shore? How was the D3 life?
It was good. D3 life was good. Just had to confirm once that trophy got raised by Tufts that it was not Salisbury, which rocks for Cabrini. However, I had a great weekend. I can't complain, but I'm just gonna get out in front of it. Wasn't the best lacrosse weekend ever, but the weather held up, and we got to see Notre Dame do what they would have done no matter how close the game was. So shout out Dukes, who was the highest anyone's ever been on Notre Dame since the day they lost to Georgetown. So what about you, Jordy?
Yeah, I mean, it was, listen, D2, D3, like that's where real lacrosse is played. That's like everyone who loves the game, right? Like there are people out there that are so good at lacrosse. You don't know how much they actually love the game, right? Like, I'm not talking Kavanaughs, I'm not talking Entenmann's, but like, there have been plenty of guys who've been so gross at lacrosse, but they actually like hate the sport. Like, think about like Pat Spencer ditched it real quick. Mikey Powell would rather play his guitar. Like, these guys are so good at lacrosse, but they don't love it. If you're playing D2 or D3 ball, you love the shit out of lacrosse, right? Because you're fine, you're good, but you're not great. But you just want to keep holding on to that game for as long as you possibly can. And I think that's why. So shout out to the Tufts Jumbos and shout out to Adelphi, all those flids, all those Massapequa flids on the Adelphi, winning the D2 and D3 national championships. Easily the two best games of the weekend. The D1 games were, they were all just, none of them were entertaining. Like, they were all over before the second half started, which is a little unfortunate. But again, like kind of like you said, Ness, like it doesn't matter which way, by how many goals each game was decided. I think the result would have been the same regardless.
Yep.
Oh, real quick though, shout out to Boston College on winning the women's national championship. That game was electric. As far as Division I lacrosse goes, BC and Northwestern, they pulled through.
So I got a quick question while we're talking about the BC game. Is women's lacrosse always like just so much like longer than men's because of all the stoppages? Because I was watching the game and I went to grab a sandwich and came back like a half hour, 45 minutes later. And
wait. Sorry, I have to cut you off right there. You said you just went to go quickly grab a sandwich and half hour, 45 minutes later? That's not very like quick.
Well, I went with a group of three. A group of four was went to Jersey Mike's, and they were like the most backed up Jersey Mike's has ever been. And we stood in line. Then I ordered a cheesesteak because I was a little hungover, needed a little something. That took another 10. It was a long trip. We stopped at Dunkin' Donuts. They got their coffee, whatever. It's not important, but it's just, I feel like women's lacrosse is so much longer. I didn't know if that was like a hungover nest thing or just that's just fact of the matter. Because hand up, I'm not sure.
It's long. It's a little longer. I mean, it's a bigger field, more running, more stoppages, more stop and go. Women's lacrosse. I don't know if you guys saw this. Has been a hot topic on the lacrosse streets. Casey Powell had his thoughts. Saw Andy Towers caught a stray that I didn't think was necessary. I think that it was just basically being like, it'd be cooler if they wore helmets. But women's lax rocks. Shea Dolce, the BC goalie, is a absolute animal in cage. Made probably the save of the weekend.
We have to find the sign. There's someone holding up a sign behind her that said "Time Room Save" instead of a Time Room bullseye.
Wow, that's awesome.
Love it.
When we were talking about D2 Lax, I got to shout him out. This is the kid that I played with at Garden City. Went from like Providence to Hofstra. Found his home at Adelphi. The Adelphi, they got jazzed up after some goals, and I'm like sure like not everyone watched them, but like just watch this kid Selly.
Steinbach thinks about another one. Here's the sweep. Here's the shot. Here's the goal. Now Steinbach's got another one. He reeled in a big one.
So I did some research last night, and I was like, has he been doing this? If anyone has some free time, go watch the way that the Adelphi boys celebrate after a goal. It doesn't matter if it's a 1-goal game, they're down like 1 or whatever. They're always selling. They definitely have to celebrate the best in the country.
So I had to leave after the D3 game because I had to go to practice because Humble Brag, Springfield Delco still playing in the playoffs right now. So I had to take off after the Tufts game. So went down on the field, Big J, for the Tufts celebration. Congrats again to Coach Adelphi. Awesome moment for him and the Tufts boys. But as I was walking out of the stadium, I had to walk by. So the locker rooms, they had to wait for Tufts and RIT to get off the field before they could go out for their warm-ups. The Lenore Ryan, locker really couldn't hear much going on. I don't know if that was like a quiet confidence of like reigning champs being like, this is, we're just here to take care of business, or like what it was. Walking past the Adelphi locker room on my way out of there, they stunk. Those were stinky pads. Those boys have not washed their pads since February. 2, they were loud and they were fired. Like they were as juiced up as it's just, 30 Long Island meatheads all just yapping it up. So I knew as I was walking out of that stadium that Adelphi team was a dangerous team, probably the most dangerous lacrosse team on the planet that weekend.
Adelphi is a good program. I can't believe how long it's been since their last national championship. But if I'm gonna talk about it, I'll show you guys
Can he get going?
I'll show you 2 more because I just need you guys. I need the people to see
back
this.
Goals response. Shot up top. Steinbach got another one. Can he get going?
This is when they're down 3 goals.
Horinsky back-to-back goals response. Shot up top. Steinbach got another one. D2.
And
that's a funny Sally. And as much as I don't want to give them any bit of credit, because that's not what I do, because that's my dog in the cage right there. Shout out Rob Pennsylvania, absolute legend. Those are funny celebrations. However, sometimes this is not your day, Lenore Ryan, and maybe he'll be back. Could be breaking news.
It's just so crazy.
Guys, for a second there, but can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Just saw this one. I'm sorry. This is my last one. This is a basic one, but it's just so it's so fluid that it's just so perfect that all these kids are from just the Long Island area. I mean,
they were getting into a little something at the end of that video, dude. Because they all started doing a little something.
Yeah, little corn on the cob. But
a little family style action there.
Yeah.
Once Garden City gets knocked out of the high school playoffs, Garden City also raises a banner.
Fair.
Well,
fair.
It's always a banner year.
I thought you guys said that you lost who'd you lose to, Manhasset this year for the first time in a while?
Adelphi's in Garden City. Always a banner year.
Okay. All right. I see where you were going. I didn't know that that's where Adelphi was. I just figured it was Massapequa because of the entire roster being from there.
Yeah, legitimately. When you said that last episode, George, I went to the website to check. Everybody was from Massapequa. The first 7 names were Massapequa.
Yeah, Massapequa High, 13th grade. All right, so should we talk a little bit about Notre Dame here? Now that, again, congrats to all the other national champions this year. But listen, great year for all of them. I don't think that we've seen, and I really hate Georgetown for doing this because it's so hard to actually have this conversation right now. But I don't think that there's been a more dominant team in the past decade than this Irish team. Like I know that Maryland had the undefeated season. I get it. I get that. It's so hard to have the conversation of who would win 2024 Notre Dame or 2022 Maryland. But I just think like this Notre Dame team coming off of a national championship, right? Because, 2022 Maryland, they came off of a national championship loss, but they weren't the national champions, right? So you're still getting a great game out of everybody that you go up against, but it's a little different when you're the reigning champs, you go into the season and you know that everyone is going to give you their best punch. Like you're never going to catch anyone off guard as the reigning national champs. They go down, they lose one game by 1 goal to Georgetown. Other than that, they just stomp on everyone. They demolished Maryland 14-9 in the regular season. Crushed Michigan. Syracuse kept it tight. You go into the ACC tournament, just beat the balls off of Virginia 18-9. You go into the ACC championship game, you beat up Duke and Brendan O'Neill by 10 goals, 16-6. You had a bad first half against Albany in the first round. You still win 14-9. You take care of Georgetown. You get your revenge against Georgetown in the quarterfinals. You go into the semifinals on Saturday at Lincoln Financial Field. You take care of business there with a 13-6 win that was never even that close to begin with. And then to win the national championship by 10 goals, like, again, the team that everyone has circled, reigning national champs, we want to get those guys. And just no one was able to come close except for just one slip up in February against a good Georgetown team. But I just think that title defense is so strong to make a case for them to be even more dominant than 2022 Maryland. Maybe I'll put them equal. Maybe not more dominant. They're equal. Like it's a conversation to be had.
It's if you really look at the makeup, this is what it comes down to for me. If someone wants to say they have to go undefeated for that conversation, sure, fine. You can give me Maryland's more dominant. If you're asking me who I think is going to win that game and who the better team is on any given day, I'm going to say Notre Dame. I get if you can't put them down as like this like generational, once in a lifetime team because they lost 0 games in regulation. They lost 1 overtime game to Georgetown. But I think when you go top to bottom, what team's better? Notre Dame is better. Yeah. I firmly believe that. And if you want to go back to 2022 as well, I know it's different teams, different makeups. Like what made this Notre Dame team great this year, they had some pieces that were different and unique compared to last year's team or whatever. But the same core was there in 2022. In 2022, I was still saying Pat Cab for Tewaaraton, Lee Mentzman, best goalie ever, and then, like all this shit. Still been the same group of guys, and they only lost by 2 to Maryland. They gave Maryland their best game. And now I think –
who knows if they would have gotten into the tournament.
I firmly believe that this would have been
does Maryland get to go up against Princeton and Cornell in the semifinals and championship game if Notre Dame's in the tournament? We'll never know.
And you know how I felt that year. I thought that Notre Dame was going to win the national championship if they got in. And I think that it's just completely been vindicated that I had every right to feel that way after they go back-to-back. But I don't know. I just think when you take the team that they gave 2022 Maryland, the same group, and then you transport them into an older, better, more mature versions of themselves in 2024, yeah, I'm going to say that younger group that gave Maryland their best game would beat them. So that's where I stand.
Do you guys know when the last beat down like this was in an NCAA championship game, the last double-digit win?
Yes, 2019 Cabrini.
No. That'd be sick, though.
In the D1 level, it was either like 88 or 98, I think.
I guess. Who did Salisbury?
Do you know No, are you talking about just the D1 level? It was a Princeton team, right?
Yeah. Jordy hit it right on the nose. It was Bill Tierney's Princeton team. They beat Maryland 15-5. So it's Maryland's.
Ooh.
It's actually Maryland's second 15-5 loss in the national championship game.
I mean, listen, I think I'm gonna have to start being a Maryland. Like Maryland is officially, I'm going to consider Maryland to be a Philly team from now. Like from this point moving forward, Maryland lacrosse is officially a Philadelphia team. They just make a living out of getting to the championship game, and then it all come crashing down.
Yeah, there was. I think Mitch was telling me that, like, think about the Maltz family. Like how many kids they've had? 3 kids. I think they've seen 7 national championships and only 2 wins. That's got to be one of the most losses for a single fan. It just as impressive as it is to make 7 national. Like I never think. Where do you guys stand on this? Should Tillman be criticized for losing as late as he does in the tournament? 2 and 7 in the big game? I don't think so either.
It's not great, but it's like that sustainability to constantly be there year after year after how much we flamed Danowski for not getting there. It's kind of hard to be like, okay, you get there, but even if you lose the national championship game, we're still going to flame. Like, you know, there are only so many coaches that were able to, like Bill Tierney, you know, I guess Desco for those years. Like, there are only so many coaches that are able to consistently get there and consistently win. Like, you know, even at this point, like where's Lars at wins loss wise in, you know, maybe not just national championship games, but like as far as Final Fours go. So listen, I'll give, I still think that Tillman is probably as much as it hurts me to say, he's got to be the best coach in college lacrosse to consistently get your guys there. Corrigan's obviously up there, but like this Notre Dame team, like I love Ryder to death. Ryder could be the head coach of this team and it wouldn't really change what the outcome would be. And I think Ryder's awesome. That's not like a slight on Ryder, but it's just like you could hand over the keys to anyone in that team. Like I think that team, what they thrive on is you've got all the juice in the locker room from the Kavanaughs. You have all the confidence in the world because you have Liam Mentum in between the pipes. And like, they're just a team that like, you don't need, they're not X's and O's out there, right? Like that Chris Cav goal, his hat trick goal, that's not a play. There's no X's and O's on that one. That's just a couple of kids doing exactly what they did in their backyard for 18 years growing up. And then they move over to South Bend and they're doing the same thing. So Tillman, best coach in college lacrosse. It's just hilarious that they consistently lose these big games.
Yeah, I do think Corrigan has like entered the conversation more so than people would like to.
Yeah.
No, not
in the conversation.
Not that you weren't saying that, but like given like because people want to talk about like you had like the Scotty Rogers teams, you know, he built like not that like I think that building Notre Dame is necessarily like the toughest job in the world, even though some people want to say like act like UNC is the toughest job ever to coach for, but like he built up Notre Dame. He had the championship loss in overtime 2010. He had the years with Matt Cav going to like Final Fours with Ocello, and then came back with Pat and Chris or whatnot. Like, I don't know. I think that what Notre Dame's so good at is staying true to who they are. And like you're saying, no game plan, but I think their game plan is having no game plan in the sense that they're just like, no matter who we're playing, we're going to do the same thing no matter what. And this is just who we are. They're not. But one thing that I think that they thrived at yesterday was like, and what you saw at was how deep they are. And how many ways they were able to attack you on the field without like having like Ajax, even like you didn't even know Ajax was on the field because they were attacking you 5 different ways. And it was opening things up for Pat against Ajax in his own right. Like it's just they were able to beat you so many different ways. Any type of game that you want to play with Notre Dame, you want to play the big physicality game like Denver tried to do, Notre Dame will beat you. You want to play the type of ball Maryland was trying to play yesterday, like. You know, not winning that many faceoffs. Will Lynch, who's been one of the hottest faceoff guys, not winning as many faceoffs as he had, and they were still able to dominate. I don't know. Notre Dame is just scary, scary good.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, recruiting is a part of coaching, right? And so to be able to get that collection of guys, and like I think where recruiting, like really, like where Corrigan destroyed Tillman in that aspect is like I look at this Maryland offense and it like I've said it before on the podcast where like they look and play like clones. Like you could switch the jersey number on pretty much everyone, maybe besides Spanos. And I think that you wouldn't be able to tell a difference. They all look and play a very similar way where with like you said, where Notre Dame can beat you in a variety of different ways. Like especially at the midfield position, like what do you do against that? Are you going to pull Jordan Faison, like a smaller, shiftier midfielder who, throw the pole on him? Are you going to pull Eric Dobson, just an absolute mutant who, once he gets going downhill, like you're not going to stop him? What I would have loved to have seen Maryland at least attempt yesterday would have been to pull both of them and maybe throw a short on Jake Taylor and just kind of see what happens there. But to be able to get two completely different players like a Faison and a Eric Dobson to run your midfield unit, and then one, to have them gel, but two, to have that ability to be like, hey, like we're not playing a specific brand of ball. Like every time the ball touches a new person's stick, you have to find out a way to defend a different style of lacrosse. And that's what we found out, damn near impossible.
Yeah, and then like Devin McLean, what he was able to do all year long, just best team, in my opinion. I don't know where you guys stand on this, but I'm interested if you guys are kind of done kind of recapping the game. I know it's a debate on Twitter where you're talking about 2022 Maryland, 2024 Notre Dame. Where do you stand on, are the Kavanaughs the best brother duo of all time? Better than the Thompsons?
I feel like
shout out to your class, by the way. Great hypothetical.
I think they almost have to be because of the back-to-back, and just then their production is very similar. If anything, the Thompsons might have like an edge as far as points, but Notre Dame plays like one of the hardest schedules in the country, and they did it for 2 straight years and won on the biggest stage 2 years in a row. It's not just like championships versus not championships, but it's against like doing it all. They did all of it. The Thompsons probably just had a little bit higher point average, if I had to guess.
Yeah, and one of the smartest guys I know, I think, said that if you play in the American East, you should never win at a Tewaaraton.
That was one Barstool Jordy.
So it is, because obviously I do think that like Lyle's probably the best college lacrosse player that I've ever seen, and was revolutionary in the game, was so critical in the growth of the sport, and like at the pinnacle of like where like that Albany Notre Dame game, and for my bang for my buck, was the best, like the one in 2014 or whatever at Hofstra, best lacrosse game I've ever seen. But back-to-back national champions playing that schedule, I'm pretty sure that Pat Cav and Chris Cav could put up 100 points if they played in the American East.
Can we also say something too? So the year that, the Thompsons, they have a combined 3 Tewaaratons. So they had 2014 where Lyle and Miles both won, and then Lyle won it by himself in 2015. Can we make a case that Jordan Wolf was the best lacrosse player in 2014 and should have easily won the Tewaaraton that year? So like that's the big, like so you have national championships versus Tewaaratons, I guess, if we're doing this debate, like that's where you have to figure out who's the better duo. And then like that becomes like, well, the Thompsons won the Tewaaraton, which is individual awards, where, maybe if you put the Thompsons within the rest of this Notre Dame roster, maybe they also have the championships to go along with it. So that's what makes it a little difficult. It also makes it difficult because, again, the 2014 Tewaaraton could have gone to Jordan Wolf. I think if you get a Tewaaraton to Pac-Have, like if you do the shared Tewaaraton again this year with Liam and Pac-Have, which, by the way, I would say if you're not going to do it shared, I would definitely give it to Liam over Pac-Have. But if you do go the shared route again, and you have Pat Kavanaugh with the Tewaaraton, you have Chris Kavanaugh winning the most outstanding player of the tournament, and then you have the back-to-back national champions. It's an impossible debate. I think that you'd have to, at that point, I don't know. Recency bias is playing a real heavy role here.
One more thing, Jordan.
What I will say is maybe there's not Kavanaugh. There's not Kavanaughs though without the Lyles and Miles. Like, so maybe no Kavanaughs without the Thompsons, or as I don't know. We get into a dicey situation there. It's a really hard debate to have.
Chris Kavanaugh has one more year to also get a Tewaaraton. who is my
Yeah,
early
I don't
pick
think
to
he's
win
going
it.
to get it. Yeah.
He's my pick.
Yeah, but that Notre Dame team's not going to be the same. And you know that for the most part, Tewaaraton is decided on Memorial Day weekend.
I think three-peat's definitely in the question. I think that they could definitely three-peat.
With who in net?
The Nets obviously like are a huge question mark. But it's one, either the portal or they have a guy back there. I mean, Notre Dame's goalie and defense has never been like very much like a worry for them to begin with. Like, yeah, did Liam make them elite? For sure. But like you gotta have to go back to be like, when have they ever really had like a liability for the most part in that way?
All right. Well, this is good. All right. So then the debate between the Kavanaugh brothers and the Thompsons, it's still open. Still open for debate until Chris graduates. And
yeah,
that way we
I
never
think,
actually have to settle it.
I think Chris, this is one more thing, like, because I think so highly of Chris. I think Chris gets kind of lost behind Pat because Pat's been there older. You kind of let Pat be the initiator and the alpha of that attack line. But don't get it twisted. I think Chris Kavanaugh, when it's all said and done, will be the #1 draft pick next year. Without looking at a big board. Without looking at a big board.
Well, I know Ness has one name circled on his big board.
Yeah, CJ Kirst is 1-1 next year without a doubt, and I feel like
yeah. There's not like you're not gonna get too much of a debate from me, but Ness, I do think that you'd be like, I don't think it's big of a lock as you would think. Like, I do think Chris Cav could sneak in there. I think Kirst's size definitely helps him, and like his skill set is awesome. Like I love CJ Kirst. So I'm not gonna.
Well, here's a good debate. Here's a good debate. Yeah. So let's say the Cannons. Let's say somehow the Cannons end up with that pick next year. Probably won't happen, but let's say the Cannons end up with the pick. You gotta like so. Do you go brother Kirst or do you go brother Cav?
You go to the brothers that have won national championships.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be hard to not pair the Kavanaugh brothers back up. But, like, you also can't go wrong with just sticking CJ Kirst back there. I will say, for some reason, Chris Kavanaugh kind of reminds me of CJ Kirst. It's probably because they both kind of look similar.
It's not like the craziest thing. Yeah. There's aspects of their game that I do see. It's just what I was saying to you, like, CJ's just so much bigger.
He's huge. He's a monster.
Yeah, I think the aspect of their game that you're kind of talking about that's so similar is that you just can't stop them.
Yeah, it's that they're really freaking good. No, but like I just think Chris Cav's development of like he's played so many different roles in its Notre Dame offense, in my opinion. Like now he's turning into like a playmaker. I think he's going to take that next step next year, and he's really going to be the guy on the team. I don't know. I'm not counting.
And real quick, let's just when we're talking about roles, let's just take a quick second to acknowledge how incredible the stat line of yesterday's championship game where Pat Cav 0 goals, 6 assists on the day, Chris Kavanaugh 5 goals, 0 assists. So just hilarious stat line. And yeah, I mean the Chris Cav his third goal of the game, the little sidewinder backhand, hey, how you doing? Like that was just a moment where you're watching this game and like poor Maryland's trying to do everything that they possibly can to get themselves back in this game, just trying to do everything they can to make it at least somewhat competitive. And you get Chris Kavanaugh pulling some bullshit like that, just stinging it right inside the pipe. And that's where it's like, these guys are like, they're just playing with their food. Like that's what not Georgetown. That's what Notre Dame was doing all season long, just playing with their food and just taking advantage and emasculating the team. So yeah, I think just what they've done, recency bias right now, I got Cavs on top.
Me too. And one more thing, going back to the game, I just want to shout him out. Who do you think is the best defender in Notre Dame history? Just top of your head. Just anyone that you could think.
I love Sexton. Mostly because I love the traditional.
Yeah, I was going to say Landis or Sexton, which or you could go Apple. I think Landis and Sexton would probably be 1A, 1B for me. Yep. Ness, do you have anybody?
Yeah, Chris Conlon, Chatham, New Jersey.
Chatham, New Jersey. I was going to say Chatham, New Jersey or Cabrini transfer.
Correct.
Sean Light, number 90 on Notre Dame, I think could go down as the best defender in Notre Dame history. I think he's that good. That's just a guy If you don't know
I'm
him,
not going to get an argument out of me on that one.
yeah, if you don't know him, learn the name. I think he's been one of the most. I have to think about this. I need a big board. I need some other freshman names, but I'm going to go off this. Most impactful freshman in the country, without looking at any freshman in the country. Who's a freshman? Owen Duffy is really good. Really good.
Owen Duffy, McCabe.
The only man
McCabe.
that can save Bresci's job, by the way, is Owen Bresci.
Oh,
Owen Duffy.
Owen Duffy can save Bresci's job. He's the only guy that can do it. He's going to save a program and a job. That's tough. That's a lot of pressure.
Dukes wants nothing more than for the UNC program to fall.
No, I actually root for Owen Duffy hard.
Fair. He's Long Island.
Is he what county is he from?
The other one.
Oh,
I think. Actually, I know he's a St. Anthony's guy, so I just assumed. He's from Suffolk. Let me see. Like, are you saying is he Hofstra or is he Stony Brook?
Yeah, is he Hofstra or Stony Brook? Is he your people or no?
He ain't my people, but he could be my guy. Just because you ain't my people doesn't mean you can't be my brother.
All right. Anything else before we wrap up the college lacrosse? So let's say, when do we have the Tewaaraton announcement? On Thursday?
Thursday.
Is that usually when it is? All right, so
yeah. Throw
it out there. Who do we have, boys?
Entman. It has to be. If he's not going to win it, no goalie ever will.
It's a split. You're getting both of them up there. They're not going to choose. And in this day and age we live in, they're going to split. They should be forced to choose. If they had to, I think you got to give it to Entman. But I think we're going to see both their names up there.
I want to split, but I think it's Entman.
So it's what is it? It's coaches that decide, right? There's a committee of coaches that decide. Like I don't think it's voters. So I think that they have a committee. If it were voted, if
it looks like coaches.
Okay, so if it were voters, I'd say it goes Entman. If you have a bunch of coaches up there, I think, I think it goes. You got to bring both of them up there.
That's
especially because like they're they're both leaving, so you kind of treat it also like a lifetime achievement type of thing too. So both leaving, both back-to-back champs. You can argue who was more impactful in this one. I'd say, I think that Entman, even with like 6 assists in the national championship game, I think like Entman just gobbling up every single thing thrown his way after those first couple shots just really demoralized Maryland's like any chance that they had to get back in it. So I'd say Entman 1A, Pat Cav 1B, bring them both up.
Yeah, Entman getting those first 3 by him too. Like I thought some of those were easy. I thought he should have at least had two, and then you could just tell that he was just anything low wasn't going. He figured that out quickly. But yeah, I you know what I'm going to miss the most, Jordy, is I think that they have Entman and Pat Cav. I think have been on Notre Dame since you first allowed me to be on the podcast, and just like death and taxes every single week. You could count on me being like, why does Notre Dame have a chance in this game? Because Pat Cav and Liam Entman on that team. I think maybe my first 4 episodes, I called Liam Entman a top 3 goalie in the world, which people called me crazy back then. People caught up finally. People called me like, and then like, what was it, 2-3 years ago, Jordy? I said Notre Dame by 5. I got clowned. Notre Dame by 10. I was 2 years too early. I was years early. I was ahead of my time. But I'm gonna miss coming onto the podcast and absolutely sucking off. the boys in white, green, gold, and blue.
Oh my goodness.
Well, the good news for you, Dukes, is we get to keep rolling right into it with the PLL season. So that'll be you every single week with the Atlas and the Cannons. So why do they have a chance? Because they've got the one of the best 3 goalies in the world, and Now you add Shelly to that mix, right? So Shelly and Pack have pretty similar. So now you just get to. Are you an Atlas guy or a Cannons guy? Or are you a nobody guy? You're a big J. You're unbiased.
I'm not unbiased. It's like I fuck with the Water Dogs heavy. I also really like the Cannons makeup. I don't hate the Atlas anymore. I used to be a Redwoods guy. Now it's just like I bet on the teams. Whoever's doing me good, whoever thinks gonna be good and can win me some coin at the end of the year. I'll give out some picks. But I will just say, to start it off, Cannons plus 550 is my pick. I truly think that Pack will win one with Chris and then win one with Matt. I think the Cannons got a feel to them. And I actually going back to yesterday, I asked Ryder, who warms up the Notre Dame goalies, Jordy? I know you're a big warm-up guy. Who warms them up?
Yeah, one Ryder Garnsey.
Yeah, and do you think that he's going to have the best shooting percentage in the country against Liam Ensigman? Is he just going to be Liam's kryptonite? His all his weaknesses and soft spots.
Yeah, he's got to be. Like, obviously, like Liam's seeing that shot every day, but how much juice is like? I'm sure that there are some days of practice where Ryder's like unloading the clip, and he's like, "Hey, this warm up's for me more than it is for you right now." Game day, a little more like, "Hey, here's some popcorn just to get you a feel for the ball in your stick." I think that Ryder probably has, and he's definitely got a few spots kind of tucked away in his back pocket where he probably hasn't. He's probably kept those shots a little close to the vest, so he might not have. He's probably hasn't shown them to Liam just yet. So that first game will be very, very interesting to see how that matchup goes.
Ness, what do you think? You on the shooter or the goalie? You think it benefits seeing shots from Ryder every day, or?
I think it benefits the shooter a little more because a goalie, like, obviously he knows his shot. If it's a step down, it might help Liam a little bit, but like Ryder might just be able to kind of sneak one by him in close because he's like, listen, this is probably his weakest spot. But I don't know. I think warm-ups are really so different than actual games that like he could be seeing Ryder's shot for another 4 or 5 years for warm-ups, and then Ryder could go and play for the other team, and like he's still gonna score on him. It's not like it. I feel like every lacrosse shot's so different as a goalie that, like, I don't know, the warm-up's just like Jordy said, on game day, you're just like sort of trying to get a quick feel for it. And then you're like, all right, whatever the fuck happens while I'm out here, it sort of happens.
Well, you guys will be seeing a decent amount of those this week. You're both heading up to Albany for PLL training camp. What do you guys head there tomorrow?
Yeah, we're heading up, shipping up north. Should be fun. I mean, I don't really know much of a preview that we can get when we don't even, like, as of right now, we don't even know if a club lacrosse player is officially on the roster. But I know that it will be fun being up there with the boy Nest. I think Mitch will be up there with his camera guy, potentially all staying in the same dorm, which is fun. Content goldmine. And it'll be like college with the boys. It'll just be
Are you getting any goalie challenges or anything in while you're up there, or
we got cameras to do it? I know. You know what? Let's do it. We have to figure out the details, but I'm putting this out on you. I offered the idea to Ness that I'm going to shoot on him. Nestler wants to do the goalie challenges. He acts like I didn't do it first 2 years ago, then break my ankle last year. So he wants to get involved with it, which, like, I'm not going to suppress the dude. I didn't invent goalie challenges, but I do think Jordy, as our intern still, he still has the tagline intern Nest. I think that he's got to earn it. So what do you think's fair? If I slip 5, and again, I'm not a shooter, so I'm doing you a solid here. If I get 5 by you, I think that
5 out of 10.
Yeah. What do you think is a good? I'm asking you for the number that I should do. If I slip,
I think 3.
Okay,
3 is a good one. You're not a shooter, dude.
10 out.
So from 10.
12.
From 10?
I got cocky.
Right,
I got cocky.
from 12. From 12, I think if you get 3 by, that's pretty good.
Okay.
If you miss the goal, does it count, or is everything as a 10 on cage?
You know what? It's usually just 10 straight up. I would say, since I'm not a shooter, it's got to be on cage, or if you just get stick on it.
Wow. All right.
Fine, 10. Or how
See,
about this? 15.
That's fine.
Well,
Whatever you decide, I'm in. No
We'll
matter.
work out the kinks, but then it comes down to this: if you win this challenge, or no, if you lose this challenge, you can't do goalie challenges the rest of the summer.
Oh my god.
Or should we let him do goalie challenges, but it has to be with a short stick?
Oh.
Maybe let's give him a like a fiddlestick goalie stick.
Or a lefty goalie.
Listen. Let's get a few things out of the way. One, you're not going to score on me, Dukes. Two, I'm just trying to do the goalie challenges with you in case you need support. Like, listen, I'm there for you.
I'm with you.
I'm there for you. But no, I'm looking forward to tons of
me too.
Tons of fun stuff with Dukes. We might try to do a little shootout too, because I got to see what Dukes looks like in the pipes in person. I mean, I've seen the videos. You just never know. Dukes has some good editing skills, so I don't know what to really expect when I see him with my own eyes. So we'll see. But if any of the PLL guys want to shoot, Dukes is ready to see some real rubber. So don't be shy.
It's insane. I was just you saying that. I just did the math. I was like, oh, like I played in high school. That's like it's like riding a bike. I was like, holy shit, that was 8-9 years ago, and I stepped in cage once or twice since then. Like once for like a date in practice when we just like needed a goalie because like someone was sick, and then once or a couple times for the goalie challenge. It's fucking crazy. But yeah, it should be a good weekend. I'm very pumped, Ness. I think that training camp will be fun. We'll get a lot of good content. We're gonna be vlogging the weekend.
Are you gonna be there for full week one? Okay.
He's gonna leave for his alumni game. Don't break your ankle. Don't play midfield. Don't play against someone that absolutely hates you guts. Yeah.
Chatham alumni or Cabrini alumni?
Chatham. It's Sunday, so I'm gonna stay Saturday, and then leave Sunday morning. Drive on down and probably have an asthma attack in midfield like I usually do. But I'll update everyone with my stat lines. No worries.
Are you gonna play midfield?
I play attack, but sometimes you get sucked into midfield. Sometimes we play good numbers, and sometimes we have really bad. If we have really bad numbers, I try to like do like a shift at midfield, and like I actually go into like a real bad spot for a few minutes there.
If you get injured, we're really gonna have to like all retire from the alumni games. Stay at the Crease Dive. Dude, you did this. You said alumni game. I was joking about the ankle, like don't play midfield. Then you're like, oh, I'm gonna have an asthma attack at midfield. You low key brought it up.
You brought it up by saying, don't break your ankle.
Here, you want to see the scar?
No, I don't.
Well, we could run you through some drills this week in Albany. We'll get some tips from the players, some injury prevention.
I need work. Just be careful because like they might sign my ass.
I mean, Ness running out of the box full steam ahead downhill. That's a scary thing for an alumni defender. So I got faith in you there, Ness. I got faith in you boys this whole weekend. Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll put it out on social if we're gonna get a preview episode out or not for PLL week 1. If you're in the Philly area though, make sure that week 1 we've got the Water Dogs going to be having a watch party at the Barstool Sansom Street bar. So that's right there in Center City in Philly. Philly Water Dogs official watch party hosted by the K9 crew. So that'll be Saturday, June 1st at 12 p.m. Going to have a couple drink specials there. Going to have some jersey giveaways. So that's at the Barstool Sansom Street in Philly for that Water Dogs game. Going to have a great weekend of lacrosse ahead of us. We just wrapped up a great college season. Looking forward to jumping right into the PLL season. Really, really enjoying this new schedule of lacrosse that we've had over the last few years, where there's just no gap, just college rolling right into the PLL season. So feels great. Looking forward to it. Boys, you guys are going to get some great content in Albany, so make sure that everyone is on the lookout for all of that. Anything else before we wrap this thing up? Make sure you guys are following us on all of our socials. We're at the Crease Dive on pretty much everything. Stool Crease Dive on TikTok.
I just know Ness definitely has a fucking hammer shooting it. He's got a goalie. Some goalies just have an absolute crank, and I'm expecting in Albany to see. We're going to get you timed because I could see you hitting you versus a Cursed.
The Curse. I really want to do a one-on-one with Colin because he's really good with a shorty. We all know I'm gonna have a hard time scoring on him, but he's like always been the guy that can go and play midi like any time his team needs him. Was like known for winning championships at Lehigh in their winter like indoor league. He always played short stick against like the real team. So he's the real deal. I'd love to do something with him. I don't think I'd be able to bring like heat like they can, but I would like to think I can clock mid 90, at least break 90. If I can't, I'll be very disappointed in myself. So yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. A lot of time for a lot of good content, both with like the PLL guys, Dukes and I, and just chopping it up. We're going back to college, baby. Who would have thought?
We're vlogging all weekend long too.
I'm in. They call me Nesty Vlogs now.
They don't call you that, but we do keep it low to high till the day we die. We out.